ICT 21 June, paper 31 spreadsheet. This exercise is rather difficult for several reasons. First, this is the very first or the only example that has HLookup on it. We used to have Vlookup in every exam, maybe twice or 3 times. Vlookup. We use Vlookup when the table array is vertical. And this is the common thing, to have the table array vertical. Table consisting of columns. This exercise has maybe 1 or 2 Vlookups like the one we know. And the other point, it has one HLookup in a very complicated way. So it actually it will eventually it will be HLookup inside an if. Then it is difficult to imagine. It showed in the for the first time to appear in that complexity. We go through it a bit by bit. Maybe when we are attempting to solve it, maybe we do some mistakes to teach in a better way, show you the wrong thing, and then I say, okay, because of this, we have to modify our answer to do it in the better, and finally do it in the best way. Let us go through this exercise. Yeah, the bad thing in that exercise, there is one step that with so many marks, like they usually do. I think this is the style Cambridge likes to do in the recent years. This is 21 June, one of the latest exams. So let us go through it and learn from it. So on the first page, the exam says you have been supplied with the following source files, and all those files are on the desktop right now. These are the source files. Yeah, I have them all. Okay, let us skip the evidence. Let us skip file management. Let us skip web page authoring, web authoring. We study this later. Let us go now to the part that says task 5, data analysis. With data analysis, they mean spreadsheet or Excel. Okay, this is our task for today. You are going to use a spreadsheet. Then this is Excel. To list properties in Bali that match the location and room type entered by the user. Mainly the whole exercise is about Vlookup and HLookup, but HLookup is for the first time to show, and when HLookup is inside if, like we did previously. Let us go through it a bit by bit, and let us see. We will these two files will take. This one will be Vlookup. This one will be HLookup, or maybe the opposite. We will discover this as soon as we open it. We do a bit of formatting, that is 7 marks. We do here Vlookup. We do another Vlookup, and here we do the HLookup that is inside the if. This is the big question that I'm worried about. And then we are done. This is the big problem in that exercise. When we do it, we are done. Okay, let's go through it a bit by bit. I think it will take a lot of effort for us with that 11 marks question. Remember, in a previous exam, there was a question that carried 15 marks. That's a lot. Okay, let us go and collect every single mark. We are in need of every single mark. Open and examine. When they say open and examine, you should know that there will be some information. You have to interpret it yourself or infer it yourself. You have to discover some ideas yourself. That is because they say open and examine. Open and examine the file j2131home.csv, j2131rate.csv. Let us open these files, have a look at them, and try to discover as much information as possible. So 21 home. In order to understand what is in a file, you need to have it auto-fit. You know my magic word. I always say, click on that box. So this is select all. Double click with the mouse between A and B. Double click with the mouse between A and B. And that is auto-fit. This table looks strange. This is the first time to see the table. That table will be used as an HLookup. This will be the table array for HLookup. The exam will say few information. Okay, let us first read that information and get ideas out of it. Let us also open and have a look at 2131 rate. So this is 2131 rate. Again, select all, double click, and this is auto-fit. Okay. I can interpret a lot of information out of this file because I am used to those files. This file will be the table array for Vlookup. My lookup value will be something containing a code, will be something containing some of these codes. And if I use column index number 2, it will display the number of persons. If I take column index number 3, it will display the rate per night. If I take column index number 4, it will display whether or not a breakfast is available. Because breakfast, yes or no. Okay. So from my expectation, this is gonna be the table array for Vlookup. And this looks really strange. Let us read the exam. Maybe they put some clues or some hints. They should. Type. They say row 2 of the file J2031 home. This one. Row 2, this row. This row. Row 2 in the file contains the location of the properties, and rows 3 to 8 contains the name of the properties. So this is the location, and these are the names of the properties in that location. This is the location, and these are the names of the properties in that location. But I have several problems. I have only 2 locations here, while here I have 5 locations, and this one has 6 locations. Let us see how this will make a difference for us and how we can go through it. But I think it will be HLookup. This will be the lookup value, and if you take table array as 1, instead of column index number, here it will be row index number. Instead of column index number, it will be row index number. Okay. Let us see how this will differ to our way of solving, and let us see how we get through it and collect all the marks. Okay, these files will be used to provide data. Yes, I already expected this. These files will be used to provide data. So these will be both used as the table array. This will be the data for the table array, either if it is HLookup or Vlookup. I think the first one has a horizontal table, so it's going to be HLookup. The other one has a vertical table, a normal table, so it's going to be Vlookup. Type. These files will be used to provide data to your spreadsheet and must not be changed. I cannot change it. Actually, all what I did was select all, double click, auto fit, and this is not changing. I will not save as, I will not save, I will not change. I will just take data from them, and I'm quite familiar with taking data from Vlookup or HLookup. Let us see how things will go. Open and examine the file. This is a third file. Open and examine the file 13 list.csv in a spreadsheet package. Okay. This is J21 13 list. Again, in order to understand what's in it, I need to select all, double click between A and B, and this is auto fit. It looks like this file will be the file where I will put all my workings. It looks like data has been placed in cells B4 to B5 to help you test your model. So data is in cell B4 and B5. This is some data in cell B4 to help me test my model. And this is another piece of data in B5 to help me test my model. It is official now that this is the main file where you are going to do all your workings. Okay, now it has been mentioned by the exam. And I will make use of these two data items. These are data items that will help me to test my model. I think if I am to do Vlookup, I will take one of them as my lookup value. These will be the inputs, and take them and find a match. Let us do more discovering. Let us do more discovering. The exam did not say yet, but I'm curious. I'm curious that UBUD will make a match with here. Yes, this will be my lookup value, but in the HLookup function. Okay, this will be my lookup value in the HLookup. Why in the HLookup? Because the table here is horizontal. Why would it be my lookup value? Because probably it will make a match here, and I will display those information. Probably. I'm just now discovering what's in my exam. I'm just discovering and reading and going through about B5, this Q. Yeah, I think it will make a match here. Yeah, yes. And that Q will be the lookup value for the Vlookup. Okay. Okay, let us go and collect every single mark and be very careful, because I have quite a difficult task here. Maybe an average student would not be able to collect all the 11 marks. In that case, if it's impossible to get the 11, well, okay, let's not lose all the 11. It will be quite bad, because then most of the marks of the exam will be lost. So if you cannot get the 11, well, okay, it's fine to get 9 out of 11 if you can get the 11. But please don't get a 0 out of that 11. Otherwise, it will be quite a loss. Okay, okay. So place in the header this file. This is the main file that I will do all my workings in. This is the file I will save as. The other two files, I will just take data out of them. Okay, okay. Place in the header, left align, this text, last prepared by. So insert header, left align in the header, put this text, list prepared by, followed by a space. So you need to put a space. Then your name, center number, candidate number. Okay, this is the place for your candidate details. Name, center number, candidate number. Then a space, followed by on, and then you type here on, and then a space, and today's automated date. This is the button to insert today's automated date. So the date will appear in here. If you click somewhere outside, see 4/2/2022. Okay, let's get back to it. Nothing more, nothing more. Let us exit the header and footer. Click anywhere outside the header and footer and go to the menu view and then menu and button normal. Okay, headers and footers are now gone, but they are there to appear when printed. Save this as a spreadsheet. You need to do a save as. Never leave it like this. .csv is a text file. You need to save as with the file name. So you save as Excel workbook. It is very important. File, save as, current folder. Change this instead of CSV, comma separated values. Change it into Excel workbook. And the name should be J2131BBH underscore center number underscore candidate number. Okay, now I have collected 3 boxes. Next, format the spreadsheet to look like this. And this is 7 marks. Yes, I love them. I love them. Let us have a closer look and see what do we have to do. It is very clear that cells A1, B1 are merge and center. So A1, B1, home, merge and center. A1, B1, merge and center. Okay. Also row A3, B3, A3, B3 is merge and center. The height of row 2 is reduced. The height. See what I'm doing? The height. Use the mouse tool here and make it a bit small. Okay, okay. Let us now go to that cell. Are there any instruction? Format the merged cell A1 to B1 to contain white 28 point on black background. So it is white on black background. And size, font size 28, white 28 point text on black background. Okay. What else? I think this should be bold, a bit larger. Okay, and these should be centered, maybe a bit larger, maybe. So you have UBD and Q. Don't type these. Leave these cells empty. Leave these cells empty. In my opinion, here there will go some functions, and probably those functions will display these results. Okay. I think I'm done with the formatting, and that says 7 marks. They are very useful, very easy, 7 marks. Okay, let us go into the question. Enter a function in cell B7. This is B7. It will be something like number of persons. Okay, so enter a function in B7 here, which depending on the room type, I put a function here, depending on the room type, on that queue. Well, if I will put Vlookup here, I will take this as my lookup value. Now, depending on the room type, depending on this cell. So this cell is gonna be my input. This cell will be my lookup value, which depending on the room type looks up. Okay, take it like this. When the exam says looks up, it is either Vlookup or HLookup. Looks up, I have two functions to look up, the Vlookup and the HLookup. How can I decide? Based on the other file where the data is. The number of persons from the file 21 rate. Let us look at the file 21 rate. The first thing I have noticed is that it is a normal vertical table. I'm going to do Vlookup. And that queue there will find a match here. So I think it is appropriate as a lookup value. I will be looking for the number of persons. So I will take column index number as 2. I like the results to come from column number 2. Okay, let us go ahead and do it because I think it is clear to me what I'm planning to do. So put the pointer here in B7, fx and Vlookup. The table is normal vertical table. The lookup value is the room type, the queue. The lookup value is B5. The table array, I go to the file rate. Highlight on all the data except the titles. Highlight on all the data except the titles. I would like to return the number of persons. So I would like to copy here, type here, column index number 2. And definitely range lookup is false to find the exact match. Let us click OK. Well, thank you, working. Thank you. In a previous exam, I was doing a Vlookup on an empty cell. And when the cell is empty, even if the Vlookup is done correctly, it will display an error because there is no match with an empty cell. Okay. Also, you can see that this 3 is like that 3. So you are more confident. Okay. Now I have collected 5 marks. Excellent. Enter a function in B8. This is B8, basket provided, breakfast provided, which depending on root time, again, I think it will be exactly the same to that previous VLOOKUP we've done here. To display whether breakfast is provided using the file 21 rate. I think it will only differ in the column index number. That's why this question only carries 1 mark, because it is just exactly like this one. So again, fx and VLOOKUP. The lookup value is the Q. This is the value that will make a match. Table array, you go to the file with rates, highlight everything except the first row or the titles, highlight everything. And now I would like to get back that yes, no. I would like it to return to me that yes, no. So column index number should be 1, 2, 3, 4. Column index number should be 4. And range lookup false. And okay, well, it's again a yes. Like this. Okay, that was the easy and clear part. Let us go into this, and if it takes a lot of time, no problem. This is the last thing you need to do in the exam. Then you print it twice and change some data and print it another time, 3 times printing, and that's it. This is the only challenge. Let us read it and go through it a bit by bit. Let us do mistakes, no problem. I can teach you from intentionally made mistakes or something forgotten, things forgotten, and then we know why it is missing. Let us go through it a bit by bit, because this is quite a big task. In cells B10 to B15. So here in cells B10 to B15, I am used to, usually it goes like this. I create a function here and I replicate it down to other cells and it replicates. When replication is used, notice that some cells I would like to lock them. Maybe some cells I would like to lock them, make them absolute, or other cells leave them relative. Let us try, and if we go into a mistake, let us try to fix it. Okay, so I'm planning to do a function here and then replicate it down 2, 3, and 6. I think it is saying this. Enter a formula in cell B10 that displays the first property and then replicate this formula down into B11 to B15. Everything is officially mentioned. So I need to do a function here and replicate it down. When you replicate cells down, you have to consider which cells should be relative and which cells should be locked or should be absolute. We will see. يبقى in cell B10 B15 now I will use B10. Display the name of all properties in the location entered in B4. The exam says display the name of the location of cell of location entered in B4. Again, B4, I think B4 will be my lookup value. I think. So as mentioned by the exam, I will do lookup. I still did not decide whether it will be Vlookup or HLookup. And my lookup value will be B4. Okay. Okay, let us start, because when I start working, there are so many things I need to discover. And maybe some mistakes I need to do one mistake or two, a mistake or two before I reach the correct answer. I even did not read this. Let me read it. I even did not read this. If there are less than 6 properties available in that location, cells not displaying a property name should be blank. I cannot figure out what it means. Enter a formula in cell B10 that displays the first property, and then replicate this formula into B11 and B15. Let me first attempt to do HLookup. Let me first try to do HLookup and see what will face me. Okay. So in this cell, FX, and please type here in the search, because this is my first time to do HLookup. Delete this and type HLookup and go. Well, HLookup has been found. So this is HLookup. Okay. Click on OK. The only difference between VLOOKUP and HLookup is that the table is horizontal. And that's why instead of column index number, I have something called row index number. Okay, the lookup value will be this. The lookup value will be 4. Okay, the table array. Let us go to this file. Go to that file home. And let us highlight the whole table. Highlight from here till the end. See, some columns, they have 4 properties. Other columns, they have 5 properties, or here 2 properties. I think this will be a problem. Okay, let us leave this for now. I have many other problems to look for. I have many other problems to look for. Let us now do the row index number. There is a lot to say in that row index number. There is a lot to say in that row index number. The point is, let me try to explain row index number and do it correctly, because there are so many other mistakes I will commit, but I will do this correctly. There is no point of doing it wrong, but I have other things that I might do wrong, and this will help you. Row index number. The idea is like this. The idea is like this. I will do a function here that will take the result from row index number 2. So in here, I would like row index 2. Why? Because this is the first line of properties. If it is UB, UD, this will be my first property in the list. And when I drag it down, I would like it to be row index number 3. And so on, row index number 4, row index number 5, row index number 6. I have an idea, and this idea is the correct answer. I have an idea. My row index number will be this value plus 1. Let me explain, because this is the way it should go, and this will be the answer. It is quite new for us, but this is the way it should go. Okay. So row index number is A10 plus 1. Is this when it is 1 here plus 1, it will be row index number 2. And then when I pull it down, it will take 2 and look for row index number 3. It will take 3 and look for row index number 4. This is the way it should. This is correct. Let us try it out, and if it is not clear to us, I do it again. The range lookup is as usual false. And this okay. It is working. It is working. Double click here to let it show. It is working. It takes the UBD and then searches in here. The UBD is that one. The UBD is that one. Okay. And as the row index number is the value in here plus 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2. It uses row index number as 2, so it gets that name. Well, that whatever villas. And it is working. It is fine. It is fine. And when I drag it down, it will take 2 and get results from row 3. It will get 3 and get results from row 4. It will work. Don't worry about row index number. This is the way it should be. It is correct. But now another problem will show. I would like to show it like this. I will do now a mistake, and the best way to teach it is first to do it incorrect and then to do it correct, because the mistake will be very clear to you when we try it out. Let us drag it down. The exam says replicate. Let us replicate. Let us replicate. I am having a lot of error messages. Why is it so? I am having a lot of error messages. Why is it so? Let us try to figure out what is happening. My advice is to double click on the first one. It is taking UBD and getting the correct results. Yeah, remember, first one has no problem. Let us double click in here. See, it is no longer reading from UBD. What is happening? I forgot to lock the cell B4 that contains UBD. This is my mistake. I should have locked it. See, it is moving. That blue box is moving. It should not move. The pink box is moving. Yes, welcome. The pink box is moving. Yes, leave this as relative. This one is moving. Leave it relative. I'm happy with this, but I'm not happy with having that box moving. What shall I do? Very easy. Delete these ones because they are incorrect. Delete these ones because they are incorrect. And go to this one and open FX, open Vlookup again. Everything is working fine, especially that A10 plus 1. It is working fine. The only point, I should have locked B4. I should have locked B4. I should have made it absolute. Okay, how to fix it now? Highlight B4 and on the keyboard, press F4. If it doesn't work, press FN F4. It is working with me. Now it is $B, $4. That dollar sign looks to me like a pin. It is pinning. It is pinning. B4. Let us click OK. And let us replicate. Well, much better. Much better. Why? This one is taking from here. And row index number is 1 plus 1, then it is 2. This one is again taking from here. And row index number is 2 plus 1, then it is 3. I cannot say everything. Everything but this one is working fine. I shall assume now that I have collected 8 out of 12. It is out of 11, so I have collected 7 out of 11. There is one little missing part that is really, really difficult for any student to figure out. Let me explain it now and try to simplify it as much as possible. And if I succeed, then the exam will be done. The only remaining thing is to print it twice, once in the value view and once in the formula view, and then change some data and print it a third time, and that's it. What is it that I'm missing? Let us read this sentence, because when I read it before, I didn't get what it means. Actually, I didn't give it its own attention. Let us now read it and try to improve our answer. If you are unable to improve the answer further, just leave it like this. Just leave it like this. 7 out of 11 in this question is quite enough. Because actually in that exam, every single student was panicked. Everyone was panicked. And at the end, they get very high marks. You know why? Because the grade boundary thing, grade boundaries were much reduced, because that idea was so much difficult. In the examiner report, they give so many grades for that incomplete answer. The point is, do not panic, do not destroy your working, learn how to collect as much as possible. Let me now try to show you how to get the full mark out of it. I cannot leave you without saying the whole thing. Let us read this question again and see what does it mean. If there are less than 6 properties available in that location, let us look at our location. This is our location. And how many properties do I have? I have 5 properties, not 6. Some other locations, they have 6. But this one have 5. This one has 2. This one has 5 or 4. Okay, so the exam says, if there are less than 6 properties available, meaning you have some empty cells here. When the function finds an empty cell, it displays that 0. Because the cell was empty, it displayed that 0. The exam wants you, if the cell is empty, instead of displaying that 0, displays nothing. Of course, you cannot go to this cell and just delete it. You're not going to gain anything. Still, there's the same 7 marks or even maybe less. Don't go in here and delete that problem, because at the end, they ask you to change values here and they will like to see things changing. So you have to program it the right way. How can I program it the right way? If there are less than 6 properties, cells not displaying a property name should be blank. I think it will be something with an if. It will be something with an if function. I think it will, and we saw that if before. We saw that if the Vlookup, it will be something. If the Vlookup will display an error, we'd rather display an empty cell. I can do it in a very, very easy way for you. Probably in a way no student can think of doing it like this. But I will show it to you. I will show it to you and simplify it in a very, very easy way. The point is, here I have HLookup. Here I have the code for HLookup. I will take a copy of this code because I will delete everything and start with if function. But please help me and help yourself. Highlight all this code except the equal sign. Highlight all this code except the equal sign and take a copy of it. Now I have copied the whole code for HLookup except the equal. Okay? Okay? Please highlight everything and delete, and let me do it all over again in a very easy and perfect way. And we can do it over and over several times until you are convinced. But let me first now do it like this. After taking a copy of the code, make sure you have copied the code. Mashi? After taking a copy of the code, delete everything and let us start all over again. In that very cell, in that first cell, click on fx and get the if function. Get the if function. And look at me because I will be doing magic things right now. It will be very simple. In the logical test, I will paste the code. Okay? So in the logical test, this is the code of Vlookup. Go to the far end and do as follows. Greater than, smaller than means not equal to. So my whole code not equal to double quote, speech code twice. This means my Vlookup will not display an empty cell. My HLookup, if my HLookup will not display an empty cell, greater than, smaller than means not equal to. Speech marks not equal to empty cell. Okay, this is my rule. Go to the value if true and do another paste. If it will not display empty, then let it display. Do here a paste. Value if false, do here a speech mark. That's it, I'm done. What did we do? Again, I can do this several times. In the lookup value, in the logical test, I did a paste. My HLookup greater than, smaller than means not equal to, speech mark means not equal to empty cell. If this is the case, do here the code for the HLookup. If it is not the case, do here speech mark to display an empty cell. Well, done. Done. Hopefully done. Let us click OK. Working. Let us replicate. Happy. This one, instead of the 0, it just displayed an empty cell. That was the mark scheme. What I did right now was just the full mark answer. Probably a student wouldn't copy and paste the code for HLookup. Well, you have seen it. Do it if you like. Well, this is the code. Let us have a look at the code again. If the HLookup displays empty cell, if the HLookup does not display an empty cell, then let us display the HLookup. Else, let us display the empty cell. Again, if the HLookup, if the HLookup does not display an empty cell, comma, then let us display the HLookup. Value if false. If not, then let us display an empty cell. Okay. What do we have to do now? Let us finish up with printing and let us finish up with the question, with the exam, with that exercise, because we have achieved that incredibly difficult question. Save your spreadsheet. Print your spreadsheet showing the formulae. This is the most important printout. The examiner needs to see formulas to put marks. Okay, so what do I have to do now? Formulas. Show formulas. Again, it is very important to select all. Double click AutoFit. Okay. It is landscape orientation. Page layout, orientation, landscape. Row and column headings are displayed. Print titles and put row and column headings. The contents of all cells are fully visible and can be easily read. Well, I did that. Select all, double click AutoFit, and I will try to print it 100% scale. Okay, let us do the print. So file, print. It will print on 2 pages. Okay, it doesn't matter. Let us print it into PDF and print. Let us call it print out 2 and go to the desktop. This is 21 June, paper 31, and save it into here. See, this is the way it should look like. This is the way it should look like. Don't bother yourself. It is fine. Okay. Next, make sure you have entered your name. Yeah, definitely. Print your spreadsheet showing the values. Okay, let us exit the formula view. This is formulas. Click again on show formulas. So this is the values view. Maybe you'd like to do select all, double click AutoFit. Or maybe you'd like to arrange it manually so that everything is visible. Okay. Print fits on single page portrait. Change it back, page layout, orientation, portrait. Row and column headings are not displayed. Print titles, remove row and column headings. Content of all cells are fully visible and can be easily read. Can be easily read. They would love if the scale is 100%. But it must be on a single page. Let us see. It is on a single page. And portrait. Again, print as PDF. This time I will call it print out 3. Okay. What else? Make sure you have entered your name. The last thing, change the data. To produce a list of properties for a room of G. Instead of that Q, put a G. See, number of persons have changed into 2. Breakfast remained as yes. But the model is updating. Excellent. What else? In this location, type it carefully. Type it carefully. If you do a single typing mistake, it will produce NA. Changing. See, let me introduce one typing mistake. I forgot the A, the N. Everything is NA. Type it carefully. And then everything is the same. Just everything is the same. Single page, not displayed easily. Just do another print. So you print it once, showing formulas, and you print it once before changing the data, and once after changing the data, and that's it with that rather difficult exam. I hope I have managed to make it clear.